Joining us now to give her insights is Angela Mistrulli. She lost her father in the attacks and is the founder of 9/11 Children for Justice. It is a coalition of thousands of victims who were injured or lost loved ones that day. Angela, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for making the time tonight.
Thank you so much for having me back again, Natasha.
And we heard such an outcry from families, understandably, over the original plea deal. What is your reaction to this decision from the Department of Justice?
I'm not surprised over the plea deal. The victims of 9/11 have been struggling for decades to get justice for the murder of our loved ones. We have been struggling both with legislation on the Hill and in the courtrooms to bring all of those responsible to receive the accountability that they need.
Do you think the death penalty needs to be on the table for the masterminds behind 9/11?
I do believe that the death penalty needs to be on the table, but I think more importantly, the families need access to the evidence that has been compiled with the case over at Guantanamo Bay.
Tell me more about that. What specifically are you seeking in that evidence?
We're seeking everything and anything that they have. The concerns is that a plea deal will be struck and the evidence will be either destroyed, heavily redacted, classified, or just not provided to us. We are pursuing everyone that played a role in the murder of 3,000 innocent Americans, and no one should stand in our way. It's extremely frustrating every year to have our leaders on the Hill come to our anniversaries and put out press statements, but then we don't see that followed through in action. Right now, we have two very important pieces of legislation that are stuck. It is stuck in chambers on the Hill, and we don't have one champion standing out there to ensure that this gets done.
I appreciate that context. And I know when we were speaking before, of course, you lost your dad on 9/11, and you say that you had to bury him multiple times over the past 2 decades. What does accountability and justice look like?
Accountability and justice looks like anyone who bared a role in the 9/11 attacks being tried in court. It also means providing victims of terrorism with the support that they need to heal. And I've noticed a common theme, and that's usually every year around the anniversary, we get a gut punch. Last year during the anniversary, it was when the Biden administration was reviewing doing this plea deal. This year, we're dealing with this. This is a very emotional time, and this emotional roller coaster that we have been put through for 23 years, it needs to end. The families need closure, and we need our representatives on the Hill to stand by the pledge of never forget and not simply make it a slogan.
I hear you, and I understand that. And to that end, what actions do you hope the U.S. government will be taking against Saudi Arabia in connection to the attack?
Well, I hope that we are able to get all of the records that we have requested redactions on fully redacted for our use in our trial against Saudi Arabia. I hope that members on the Hill will swiftly pass the EJVTA and the AVTCA to provide not just 9/11, but all victims of terrorism with the resources that they need. And I want our government to stand with American victims who have been injured or harmed. We are sending a really poor message out there to the victims of today, not the victims of yesterday, but the victims of today and potentially the victims of tomorrow. And that is that you have an expiration date. And I hope that that can change. I really hope that that can change through actions.
Angela, I know that you were listening to our political coverage earlier in the show, and we are in such a heated political moment. We are focusing on whether there will be a September debate, potentially. What do you want all Americans to remember and keep in mind?
I really am hopeful that there will be no debate on September 10th. I am pleased that President Trump is not agreeing to debate on September 10th. If there is a debate in the evening on September 10th, September 11th will have no memory of the 3,000 innocent Americans who went to work that morning and never came home. And that day should be sacred for America to sit in remembrance. And
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.